Gave it a bit of time for a few people to come in.
Yeah, I think we're good to go.
Okay. Well, good morning, everybody. Glad to have you on here. Just to recap, I was away for 10 days. So on Monday where I was, it was 30 degrees Celsius. And then by Monday night, it was minus 10 when I got home. So needless to say, you guys may be more acclimatized than I am. But what's been going on what's the market been doing in the last couple of weeks? Who can give me some insight? Okay, now this is the participation, unless no one's doing any business or not talking to anybody. Let's is there still activity going on?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been pretty active for December. It's busy enough.
Yeah, it is.
And that's the thing that you have to understand is business is always there. It's the agents that take the time off. Okay. I've had some of my best months of my career in December, but they happened in December because I was working September, October, November. Right. So again, best time to hit and keep your 2026 momentum is don't stop. Right. Like there's so many opportunities of communicating with people. And I'm wearing my Jays hat because I'm going to tell you how my $75 investment when I bought this hat was one to support the Jays. But I'm going to share with you some ideas. So whole thing is right now, lots of agents are going to start taking time off because they're saying the market's slow. Understanding any communication you guys have today is future business. Okay. But if you're not talking to anybody today, then you're missing out on a lot of opportunities of building and starting those relationships. We've all talked about, talking about the idea of how do you communicate to people, right? You don't have to ask them, are you interested in buying, selling real estate? How do you start a conversation? What common things can you look at? But you don't know until you ask the questions. And we've talked about this before, where if you use the Ford program of questioning, right? Family, occupation, recreation, dreams, then you don't have to talk about real estate at all. So I'm in the Dominican. There's a big group of us that went down. This time I decided to wear my Jays hat. I can tell you I probably had, because of wearing the Jays hat, I probably had 25 conversations. I have contact now with somebody from Niagara Falls who runs their own financial services company and grew up in St. Catharines. And I talked about our office in Niagara Falls. He said, hey, you know what? He says, I get all kinds of my clients that are looking to downsize or they reach, different parts of their, so he said, let's get together when he gets back. We're going to get together and talk about how we can do business together. All because I saw I had my Jays hat on. And he goes, hey, nice hat. He said, too bad, about how the season ended. I said, I know. We happen to be down there. I said, do you follow the Jays at all? He says, oh, yeah, big fans. And we start talking. And then, just one thing led to another. It was like, okay, well, whereabouts do you live? Where are you from? Oh, we're from Canada. I said, well, we are too. Which part are you from? And he said, well, not that far away from, we're in Niagara Falls. I said, oh, I know Niagara Falls quite well. And I said, we're in Mississauga. Literally that led to continuous conversations. Found out his wife works she's one of the directors in one of the nursing homes, senior residents. He has, grew up in St. Catharines, like everything right down to, it was his birthday the next day. That's why they were there celebrating. All because I wore the hat, right? And again, easily 20 conversations. Did we all talk about real estate right away? Not at all. right? So what you have to understand is if you are a little bit cautious about just approaching people, well, find out what's going on. Like if you are into any kind of sports, well, make sure you wear it, you that team. If you're into dance, if you're whatever you're into, if you are not open to talk about right away to approach people, find a way that you might have a common ground with them. And the easiest things were, so like here's the topics. So here's literally the conversations I was having with people. One started because of my Blue Jays hat. One started because I saw someone wearing a Buffalo Bills shirt. And I said, "Oh, you're a Bills fan?" Yeah. I said, "I know I'm not. I been to a couple games, but I'm a Rams fan." "Oh, you're a Rams fan." And then it went on. Well, that conversation turned out to find out that they they just sold their place. They're living in just outside, and again outside Niagara Falls. And then another conversation came up because a guy had a Canadian flag on his hat. So I said, "Oh, which part of Canada are you from?" He says, "We're up from Godrich." I said, "I know Godrich." I said, "I got a place just around the bay and in Thornbury," and all because had nothing to do with real estate. Now, then it became, "Oh, how'd you end up in Godrich?" "Well, we were retired. What'd you do before that?" And just the conversations of, and then I slide in. Well, I'm very familiar with the areas because I own and operate a real estate. I'm a realtor. I travel all over Ontario, and it's amazing how all of that, because I looked for something that could be a conversation just by asking them questions. And yes, we were away, but at the same time, you may be at events over the holiday season. Make sure you're out there. You may see someone walking through a shopping center and go, "Oh, geez, I just noticed your hat or whatever. Is that something that you do, or that's something I enjoy doing?" And it just comes a conversation. I started playing pickleball here in Mississauga. Well, down there, we all started playing pickleball. We just started talking to people that are there. How long have you been playing? Where do you play out of? Where are you from? All because they were carrying pickleball rackets, right? Other things that, the easiest questions are always as simple as, what is it that you like about that? Is that something you do? So I really wanted to reinforce the fact that you don't have to always start the conversation about real estate. Okay? That doesn't build a relationship. What builds the relationship is the conversations about them, about what they like, what do they do. And then that leads to common ground. And then that builds, right? That builds up the ability to have those conversations that can lead to the next question. And by all means, please don't think that you're going to close somebody on doing a real estate deal within, a conversation. That's not what it's about. It's about building up the relationship, starting that relationship, and then being able to nurture that relationship. And I know lots of you do that, but this time of year, when there are so many things that you can attend, so many things that people are out about doing, that don't forget, it's just conversations. Okay. So what is it that, or have you guys, any of you just already in a short period of time of this holiday season, had any of those conversations, been to any of those events, online or in person? Don't forget the online present of stuff too. Nobody? Yeah, Elizabeth.
It's really timely that you bring this up. I just went to a seminar meeting thing last week about community events. So I've been really trying to I love hosting events. I love community. I love meeting people, but I was stuck on it has to be about real estate. And so really this whole thing was about, yeah, host a community event of something you like to do. Like I have clients who own a yoga studio. Host a free yoga class for the community, send proceeds to charity or whatever, and meet people that way. And then your name is in the community as well, helping give back. So I thought that would be worth bringing up because I'm sure a lot of people um, also like to host events in their own areas, and I'm sure you probably all do. And I'm just the new one that just had a light bulb go off, but I thought that was really cool.
No, and that's what you have to do, but it has to be genuine. Like you're doing it because you like that's something you enjoy doing, right? And why not bring that back to somebody who may not have the opportunity, right? So now you're saying, you know what, I'm gonna and put a limit on how how many can you fit in the room? What can you do, right? And just promote it that way.
Mhm.
And and again, it has to be genuine. Don't do it thinking you're going to get business right away. All you're trying to do is add to your database of people you can communicate with. All right, good job. Good. Yeah, Matthew, I see your
Hello,
hand.
everyone.
Oh,
Next week I'm going to an event in Markham. My cousin is putting on an event. He does it often. It's regarding immigrant stories and just how they came to Canada and all this. It's really cool. But the mayor of Markham will be there. The MPP of Markham slash Thornhill will be there as well. And there'll probably be several hundred people there for the same reason. So I think it's a really good networking event I was planning on going to as well.
nice. Okay. So the idea that is this something that he's done before?
Yes,
Is it a
a number
continuous
of
event?
times. Yes. He calls it the immigrant
Interesting.
story. It's sponsored by Pizza Nova because I think he's an Italian immigrant as well. And it's not just Italian, it's all backgrounds and walks of life. And it's just a really cool event that he puts on. But some of the people coming, I kind of noticed would be ideal to talk to. So I'm going to go to it next week.
Good. Excellent. One thing that I would recommend you do is and this goes for anything that you are looking at putting together, okay, or going to attend. Do some research on it. Like do some history on the event. Right? Make sure that you've got someone's in the waiting room. Make sure that you've done, some interesting feedback on understanding what the event is, and maybe talk to whoever is putting it on or who's ever on the committee, and just chat with them and say, hey, this is my first time attending. If it is, is there, can I help in any way? Is there an opportunity to is there an opportunity to volunteer with anything? And just, if it's something you're genuinely interested in, then that's a way of being out there and just making sure that you have more information than just going in blind and not sure of.
That's
Okay.
really good. I'm going to offer to volunteer.
Right. But it has to be something that you enjoy wanting to do. Right.
Mhm.
Um, and Julia, welcome. Good to see you. You're probably wondering why I have this hat on, but we were talking about, I was just away, and just by wearing my Blue Jays hat, I probably had over 20 conversations with people.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. So
I'm
today we're
sorry I
sort
was
of,
late.
no, that's fine.
My internet in
So
the
we're
house
just,
isn't working, and I had a call on my listing, so I wanted to take it.
ah, yeah. So we're really talking about, especially this time of year, but at any time, like conversations don't have to be about real estate. Yeah.
I'm gonna call on Austin for a quick second because Austin hosts something we do. Austin does as well. He does a vision board event every year. And I'm hoping he'll share a little bit about that, who attends, what kind of conversations come from that. Because I think it's more client community based than anything. Austin, do you mind sharing?
Totally, yeah. So I actually had it this past Saturday. And this typically I've had it at like a local bakery, but sadly they closed. So I ended up having it back at our office in downtown North Bay, which was amazing. This year, I don't know if maybe it was just the weather, or maybe just, of course, it's the busy time of year for people. So I didn't have the turnout that I typically do have. I had one person, but they were actually nobody from my database, which was kind of nice. Of course, I want to see my database, but it was just a Instagram follower. And they were a single mom. They had recently moved back to North Bay, and they were honestly just looking for something to do, to get out of the house. And so, as much as it was kind of a downside to only have one person show up, I was able to have a 3-hour conversation one-on-one. So we learned a lot about each other. We were able to connect. We found out that we're actually pretty close in age, and we went to the same high school. So that part was quite nice. And of course, was able to answer any questions that they had just about real estate or how else, any questions that they had. So it was almost kind of like a buyer consult at the same time, but a lot more relaxed, which was kind of nice.
So, Austin, how many times have you done this
So
idea?
I've done this about 4 or 5 times now. And every year I've had anywhere between 6 to 10 participants.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you promote it? You just promote it through your database, or do you promote it both through your database and online? And what's the message that you put out?
So I definitely do it through my database as well as my social media platforms, because also those act as part of my database as well. And that's honestly how I keep in touch with a lot of my clients and makes these conversations a lot more easier rather than just calling just to talk about real estate. Is I can relate to a lot more stuff with them, or I can just openly ask, like, how is your new job? Or like, I know 3 of my clients recently just added to their families. And so I was able to have a couple touch points with them, sending them a card, or also being able to just have a phone call with them, or even just popping by with like a little frozen meal for them to have when, obviously with a newborn, they're a little bit hectic.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, sorry. So yeah, the vision board, constantly just putting it out in my database, and it's mainly just to put goals out. So I kind of also use it for part of my business planning. Obviously, I do it separate from that, but it starts to get me thinking of what I want to accomplish. Obviously, puts it in front of me so that way I can display it, because my vision board is in my office. I see it every day as I come in. It's a mix of both business and personal. So I like to incorporate that and just let everyone know, like, they're more than welcome to put whatever they want. Like, there's no set rules for a vision board. It could be just a mood board. It could be for what you want in your personal life, business, and that kind of stuff. So I have a bunch of magazines. People are allowed to bring whatever they want to post on it. And then at the end, I typically like to go around the table. I mean, obviously there was only one person this year. So while they were putting together their vision board, because they also had never put one together. And so I was able to help them with that. And they were talking to me about their real estate goals, which again brought up a really good conversation.
Good. So when you've done this recently and in the past, what's the message you're putting out to the consumer or to your database to invite them to it? Is this something that you talk about, just a vision board session, or the benefits of a vision board? Like, what is the information that you put out? Because I know when we do ours for our agents, which we do every year, we put a message out talking about, and just the idea of even our situations where I've done vision boards for decades, and just talk about some of the things that have come to fruition because of that vision board. And so Michelle has shared her stories about some of the stuff from vision board, goal setting, things like that. So just wondering what the messages that you would put out to, even attract the previous, 6 to 10 people.
Totally. So I just talk about mainly like of how important it is to jot it down somewhere or have it visualized, because it all depends on how you obtain your goals best. Do you need to see it every day? Do you just write it down? Do you like to check it off of a list? Do you like to remove it from your board? And so I talk about how I've had the ability to be able to have the satisfaction because I'm sure we all have these to-do lists that once we're done something, that satisfaction of crossing it off and moving on to the next thing is quite nice. So that's a big component of it. But then also just about how it's something fun to do. I try
Right.
not to make it too business-like. Yeah, so it's mainly just the fun factor and getting people out of the house. They're more than welcome to bring their kids if they would like to as well. And then a big component of it was also supporting local businesses. So this year we had it at my office, but I also was able to order treats from a local bakery. Versus the past couple of years, I
Right.
held it at a local business and had a couple local other businesses contribute other factors to it as well.
Great. Okay. Do you give like a giveaway bag or giveaway takeaway thing at all?
No, it's mainly just providing the tools that people will be able to use as well as refreshments.
Good.
Yeah.
Good idea. Super. Anybody else got anything planned over the holidays for over the season and don't just focus on just this month, like looking into January, February, March, April, like if you are going to be doing events or being at events, then you have to plan ahead, right? Plan ahead, do some research because if you're going to go to an event and real estate questions does come up, you have to be prepared, right? So if you know you're going into a certain demographic or a certain area, make sure you do some research in that area. Make sure you do some research on the history of the event that you're going to, right? So that you're not just going in as a newcomer or maybe your first time, but really important that if it's of interest to you, do the research before you go. Okay? Yeah, Julia.
So everybody knows I volunteer in politics, and I've been leading some canvas groups in downtown, which is where I work.
Yeah.
And so that's exactly what I do. I get to pick the areas that we're going in, and then I can bring all the comps with me on how much units are worth as we walk by them, and last sales and things like that. And 100% every time we go out, I have a group of people that are asking me questions about real estate. The last group I was out last week said, "What's the price difference in this building for a lake facing view and a city facing view and no view?" And so 3 of them wanted that information on their own buildings. So
Wow.
and this is fun volunteering for me, but I think you know that it brings me 70% of my business. So
Right.
volunteering is really worthwhile when you're in front of people.
Yeah. Great point. And again, you're doing it because it's something that is interest to you and you enjoy doing. And that comes across. Right? So, okay, next factor is that we're going to talk about is speaking of vision boards, doing, goal setting. Have you all already planned out 2026? Yes, no? I see one head shaking. I got maybe not quite there yet. Right? Like this is the time, understanding like, we talked about back in December is if you want a good start to 2026, you have to work the end of 2025. And it's a 90-day cycle, right? The whole 90-day cycle has never changed. You start working, if you only start working today and you work consistently, 90 days down the road, you're going to start seeing some transactions happen. But if you're not planning and you're not knowing what you're going to be doing, then that gets delayed. So we've really focused on our conversations, just talking about how do you engage with people? How can you put yourself out there? How can you be networking? How can you add to your database, communicate with the database? And so it could be as Gary in our Vaughan office, he still volunteers and does a lot of stuff at the high school he went to. He does a lot of mentorship there. But everywhere he goes, he's always got his logo on, right? Doesn't matter if it's a t-shirt, a jacket, or whatever. He is in a position where he is out there and he's communicating with people. He's involved, but he's got his numbers already planned out and already knows that he's been working October, November, December, because he's going to have a good start to January, February, March, right? So if you have not sat down and looked at what you want to do for 2026, then this is the time to do it. Okay. This is the time to sit down. And if you're not busy, you're either out doing your networking, popping by to see your database. This is the time of year I'm at Costco and I'm loading up my car with all the poinsettias I can, and I'm going to all the different clients in my database and dropping them off. I'm personally delivering. I probably will personally deliver about 30 this year. But that's what I do. What is it that you do to just pop by and communicate with your database, the people that, any of the places that you go to, restaurants, cleaners, wherever it is, what are you doing just to drop them off, even a small basket or something, just say, hey, thanks for taking care of me all year. Okay. Does somebody already started doing that? If not, what's your plan?
I actually
Who
just
does?
finished writing all of my past client and referral partner cards. And then I'm just gearing up now to pop by to all my past clients of this year with their Christmas gifts.
Wonderful. Excellent.
I'm actually going on Sunday to drop by, go through the list of people I've worked with this year. And so I'm starting that on Sunday. Something we had talked about with some of our newer agents before we left was also targeting the businesses or any of the recreational stuff you do, whether it's a yoga studio, dance studio, gym, any place you have a relationship with that they know who you are. So I actually did a delivery this week to my yoga studio. I'm there a few times a week. Have all the different teachers, the front office staff, they're all great. So yeah, I wrote them a little card, dropped off a little Christmas basket for them, and they were very thankful.
Good.
Stuck my little business card in the card,
That's good. What does everybody else do? Nancy, what do you do? I know you didn't want to speak.
Pardon? I'm planning on probably doing the poinsettia too.
Yeah.
So Costco's way too far, so we'll see if Home Depot has them.
Yeah, and it does, and again, it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be elaborate, right? So don't feel like you have to spend a ton of money, and but it's just the opportunity of going by and just genuinely saying, hey, thanks. You know what? Just want to come by. Wish you all the best over the Christmas and holiday season. Just want to let you know I'm thinking of you. Thanks again for all the business in the past, and if I can help any way in the future, just let me know. But just personally wanted to come by.
Yeah.
A lot of times I'm in the front door 5 minutes. Lots of times they want me to come in and sit down longer, and I just said, I appreciate that, but I've got some other deliveries I got to make sure I get to. But how about I check back in early in the new year, and we'll set a time where I can come by, have a coffee, and we'll just sit and chat. Well, that'd be great. So now what I've done is I got one visit, I've booked a second. Make sure you follow up on that second visit.
Okay. I'll be doing electronic Christmas cards as well.
Yep. Good. Okay. Elroy, you're pretty quiet today. Tired from shoveling?
No, I'm actually laughing at you, Scott, because You say you bring poinsettias around, and last week I had a delivery to my door. It was a nice little greens ornament, not greens, a greens arrangement with cedar bowls and that kind of stuff and candles. And it said Scott Nadine on it. I laughed at it. I looked at it like, not a poinsettia to be seen in this thing.
No, that's a different
And,
supplier.
yeah, and then I thought either Scott knows me well because I hate poinsettias, and I also hate red. So I'm like, he must know me well.
You're wearing red.
No, I'm wearing like a burnt
Just typing
orange.
that.
This isn't red. The door in the distance looks red to me. I don't like red, but I really don't like poinsettias because I used to grow those things and they
I
drove
was
us
gonna
nuts.
say,
Yeah. We
nice.
looked at poinsettias in February and they don't leave till November, and then the darn things freeze on the truck on the way to the supplier and you don't get paid. And just
Yeah,
yeah, we hated those things. Still do.
wow. But it again, it doesn't have to be whatever it is, but the idea is just being able to, pop by and just, and again, it's just having those conversations, right? And again, sometimes my folks aren't even there. Because I'm not booking appointments with them. If I am, I'm just texting them ahead of time, say, hey, just in the area, got to drop off a package for you. And I'll get Scott, we just stepped out. I find a spot if it's really cold out and snowy and stuff, I don't leave it. I'll make a second effort. But sometimes, depending on the year, I've been able to leave them on their doorstep or just inside their veranda area. And they'll reach back afterwards, right? So it's being able to communicate, being able to see them, and all the time. I usually get a lead from just popping by and saying hello. Okay. So if you're not doing that, I highly recommend you do. And again, they don't have to be past clients. They just be people that people in your database, people that are receiving your newsletters. Just say, hey, thanks very much. I really appreciate the fact that you get my newsletter. Is there any other information I could provide that you're not receiving? That idea, small conversation that can lead to a lot of business down the road. Okay.
And for anyone that works with people in condos, the idea of poinsettias, like they're great. They're just a little large if you're in a condo. So I do orchids. They're just little guys. Keep them on the table, and as long as you put ice cubes in them, they'll just keep blooming, and they're pretty good. So yeah, I started that last year, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it all depends on, you got to be doing something, whatever it is. If you're doing nothing, you're missing out on opportunity. Okay. You really are. So, any other ideas that we've missed? Somebody do something different?
For clients that have bought this year, I do a custom ornament that says like first Christmas in with their new address and their family name. And this year I dropped off a little basket because I'm obsessed with making sourdough bread. So like it's really a benefit to me to get to give people bread. Like a nice loaf and nice packaging, that and a local business that makes candles. I included that. So that was like a nice in-person touch point. And then just Christmas cards for the rest of the database.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Good.
And for the record, your bread is really good.
Thanks. I do think so.
Mailing each other stuff.
No.
What?
Have you guys been mailing each other stuff? Because I saw Elizabeth got a clipboard.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. Can I shout out how kind and thoughtful Nancy is? One meeting, she showed her mini clipboard. I have it right here. And I was like, oh my God, I love that. Where did you get it? And then I, forgot to follow up. And then I get a message that I have a delivery and it's the mini clipboards that I said I wanted. She sent me one, which is so nice. So then to thank her, I brought her a loaf of bread at the Christmas party.
Aww.
Nice. Very nice. So, again, this is a great time of year. Okay. to get out there and communicate with people. It is important that you're out there because it will help, one, keep you motivated, get you motivated, because, hey, it's a tough business. This is a tough business, been a tough year. So what a better way of boosting and, understanding that what you do is important to people by going and seeing them and having chats with them, right? Understanding the stuff you do is important. Helping people, and whatever it is, but they really appreciate it. And sometimes in our business, we get beat up mentally. So great way of boosting your mindset is getting reinforcement from people that you've helped and that you've really made a difference in their lives. Okay. And this is a great time of year to do it. Okay. Anything else going on out there? Any questions on anything? Everybody's good. Everybody's got their plan in place. You've got your targets on how many people you're going to chat with between now and the end of December. Good. If you don't, make a number. How many people are you going to add to your database between now and the end of December? Everybody's nodding at me and I'm going, okay. No one's saying, oh, a number. You're just saying, yeah, I think I'll add somebody. Matthew.
I have a new lease listing in the last 24 hours. I might have accumulated 5 additional clients. I think one's coming into the brokerage today to meet me. And
great.
I'm just from Facebook Marketplace from last night.
Yeah.
So I'm just reaching out and talking to them and trying to set up showings for them, I guess.
Super. Excellent. Again, putting yourself out there, communicating, right? That's the important part, right? Communication. So, and again, it just starts by having a conversation. Totally doesn't have to do anything with real estate. Right? So, okay, who's going to give me a number on how many people you're going to add to your database before the end of December? I don't want to put you on the spot. This is just, I'll pick somebody.
Michelle.
Guys.
Could you add 5?
I was just about to say I can add 5.
Can you add 5 to your database before the end of December?
Yeah.
Matthew says 5. Yes.
So let's see. My boyfriend's dad, stepmom, mom, stepdad, and sister. That's 5. That counts, right?
So Austin, just to give you an idea, this is a game I like to play with the agents, is where I always like to have sort of a little target for them. And I do follow up and, I mark it down in my own little, way, and then I check back. Would you like to commit to adding anybody to your database? And if so, what number would that be, Austin?
Mine would be 5 as well. That's what I was thinking.
All right. Austin's in for 5. Nancy, you disappeared on me. I was just about to ask you a question.
I'm here.
You trying to hide?
No.
How many?
I can easily do 5.
All right, I'm going to put that down. Easily 5.
We didn't have to use the adjective, but
I got it right here.
Effort.
All right. Elizabeth, did I hear you say 5?
Yes. I jokingly said I can do 5 with effort. Obviously.
Julia says 10.
Julia, 10. Excellent target. Elroy's being quiet again.
I can match Julia's 10, no problem.
Match
Oh,
Julia's
yay.
10. Problem.
All right, so we got 10 from Elroy. And you can add more. If you said 5, don't stop at 5 when you get there. Keep going.
Julia says one of them might be her internet guy.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Struggling with internet. I get it. I get it. So anybody else want to throw out a number if you want to participate in this? Because we will follow up on the first Wednesday session after the new year,
What about? Okay, yeah, no fun.
right?
Yeah.
So, okay, well, then here's my question then for the people that have these targets, how are you doing it? How are you going to do it? What's one way you're going to add some people to your database? Matthew, you said 5. What's one way you're going to add some people to your database? Is it the networking event you're going to?
I was about to say, yeah, for sure. It's that's going to be my goal is 5 people next week. And then like Michelle said as well, family visits, whatever, like there'll be always family members that don't even know I'm an agent next to them on social media or something. So just to make sure that they know that that's what I'm doing.
Okay. Austin 5, how do you see, what's one of the ways you're going to add to your database?
Definitely from a couple people that I've been talking to with at the gym. Definitely have made some soft leads there. And then probably also a couple of the coffee shops that I typically go to. I know I have a couple regulars that I typically see, and yeah. So I'll have that done by
Okay, so
next week.
yeah, all right. So we're putting down through gym, networking. And again, understand these are just people that may not be interested in doing business yet, but just adding them to your database so you can communicate with them on a regular basis.
Exactly.
Right? Okay. So gym, networking, coffee shops. And I got to tell you, the coffee shop thing, it's amazing how you go to a coffee shop and you have any type of logo, even like I would carry I'd even just put down my portfolio that would have my Realty Executives logo on it. And I just put it down while I'm sitting there in a coffee shop. It's amazing how many people come up and go, hey, what's going on in the real estate market?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty slow. Oh yeah, for some it is, but man, I got to tell you, the opportunities that are out, and it just starts a conversation. Okay. Okay, easily. Come on, Nance, how you doing it?
Mine is going to mostly be through Facebook and
Okay.
the local the Wing House that you enjoyed.
I do enjoy that. That was a good
So
wing
good.
house. That was a good spot. Elizabeth, how are you? What's one of the systems you're going to use to try to add 5, not try that you are going to add 5?
Yeah. Social media for me is a big one. So I was thinking of doing another sort of giveaway. And I think that'll be good. And then also at yoga, same like somebody else said, I have some soft leads that I've been chatting with, but haven't added them yet. So making the move there.
Good. Okay. Julia's still on here? Or did her internet go out?
Oh, no, there she goes again.
In all fairness, I have a few that I haven't put in yet, so I would say there's 6 out of the 10 are already collected and not in the database.
That's
But
okay.
I do have some socials. I have some social stuff up and some volunteer stuff that is, I just have to make sure they're qualified.
Yeah. And again, these don't have to be leads. Okay.
No,
The whole idea of a database is to build up your database where These are people that you can have communication with. They may never do any business with you, but they might refer you to somebody, right? So the whole idea of adding to the database gives you the opportunity of communicating with more people, right? And just by having conversations, going to networking events, and really, it's the whole thing behind the database is exactly that. I had people in my database for 10 years before they did anything, right? And every year, every month, they get my newsletter, they get a poinsettia, they get the calendar, they get, right? But 10 years later, I get a call going, hey, Scott, yeah, thanks very much for keeping in touch with us. And we're retiring to PEI. Can you come sell our house? Yeah, I can help do that. Right. So understand that people that you're adding may not, they don't have to be doing business within the next 90 days or anything like that. This is building your database. Yeah, Elizabeth.
I just thought of a question, just about logistically how you're adding people to your database, that don't already know you, maybe. For example, I just got to talking with a neighbor a few weeks ago, and long story short, I dropped off a flyer and I said, I love your tiny library on your lawn. And she emailed me from my flyer to say thank you, which was great. Ran into her in person, chatted. We've been emailing now. I want to add her to my database. I'm like, oh, perfect. Are you asking explicit permission? Are you saying like, hey, I'd love to add you to my email list and keep in touch? Or are you just going for it?
In some cases, I just put them in.
Yeah.
In other cases, I actually will find like, for instance, the reason I've got the gentleman from Niagara Falls and a couple of the other ones is I said, look, if I know it now that I know what you do, I said, we do have, clients in Niagara Falls area. I'm not sure if they have a financial planner or not, but would you be okay if, we get together when we were both back early in the new year? I'll introduce you to a couple of our agents there, and maybe there's a way that we can refer business back and forth. So for him, that was absolutely an opportunity for both of us. In some cases, with people that I've had conversations with, I said, I'm big into this AI stuff now. I said, if I do some research on what you're interested in, for instance, your neighbor, obviously interested in books, interested in that kind of stuff. Why not say to her, hey, look, do some research first and say, you know what, I've done a little bit of research. Would you be interested? Would you be okay if I send you some information about this? And then obviously there's lots of stuff that's happening in our neighborhood, especially if it's in your neighborhood. Would you be okay if I just kept in touch with what's going on in our neighborhood? Some would be real estate, but some would be community happenings, things like that. I have very rarely had somebody say to me, no, I don't want to know what's going on in our neighborhood. Yeah. And then that's your permission to put them in.
Awesome. Thanks.
Okay. So Elizabeth, social media, yoga, Julia, volunteer. Elroy, besides going back and, growing your poinsettias and dealing with all the dealers there to get your 10, how are you doing it? What's one avenue?
Well, I have a new YouTube channel starting up in about a week that should bring in a lot of leads. It's going to be spread across Google, TikTok, Threads, Facebook, all over the place. And then LinkedIn, I always add people on LinkedIn because they pan out for me. I have a big LinkedIn following.
Wonderful. So that's great. How do you attract the people to the YouTube channel, especially to your LinkedIn?
LinkedIn, I've been on LinkedIn for, 15, 20 years? Well, longer than I've been married. It's over 20 years now. But it started with just me and my industry colleagues, connecting, and then it just morphed from there. And I think I'm at almost 15,000 people or something like that now on LinkedIn. So
wow.
Yeah, it just grew. It just grew like crazy. And I post on there, and there's a deal or two every year that I can say directly that came from LinkedIn, a connection somewhere there. But yeah, so my new YouTube channel will be spreading across all that, and I'm gonna get some leads there. I know it.
What are you going to put on your channel? What is the
You're trying to make me
information that-
spill the beans here. I just recorded the first video yesterday.
Okay, so that's where I was getting at. It's not just posting. You're doing videos. You're
No,
doing
it's video. It's video, and it's all on
Good.
hot topics around the area. So the banner's called "Living in Barrie and Cottage Country." So it's
excellent. Okay.
yeah. So that's a broad range of topics, and I'm attempting to feature different towns and what's new in each town across the region.
Wonderful.
So,
Super. Hey, congrats on that initiative, man. That's a great idea. Hey, that's great. So we've got people that have committed, and if anybody else who has not committed and wanted to and didn't want to do it publicly, reach out to me directly. Just send me a direct message, and I will record you on here as well. Or if you aren't in a position where you can talk, just put a message and a number in the chat. Yes, Michelle, I don't have you down.
I volunteered. So I did right here, even though you stole my pen.
Well, the one I had just ran out. My second one ran out.
Thank you.
It's time for me to get a new pen.
Here.
Thank you.
So I do have 5, but it reminded me that I actually had a starting conversation, kind of like a soft conversation. I know I joked about adding like my boyfriend's family, but his sister was saying last time we were all together that she was looking to move into her boyfriend, in with her boyfriend at some point. He does work out west. He's coming back for the FIFA. He does like Canadian government stuff. So he's coming back for FIFA. But she just sold her car. So I know she's looking for something close to downtown, close to transit, stuff like that. So definitely continuing to have that conversation and just saying to her, like, you know, whatever your timeline may be, we can just start you on a search and you can kind of see what's out there, what's in your price range, what's going on in the market. And I think I could probably get her and her boyfriend definitely as people in the database receiving stuff. And then I'm just going to add Spencer's family. And if they block my emails, that's fine too.
And I'm going to give you a little bit of a why I'm focused on this and make sure that you also write down what the goal is. Okay. Like all of you should have this number somewhere where you see it every day. And please, what you need to do is if your number is 5 and you add 1, you scratch out the 5 and you write 4. When you put the 4th one in, you scratch out the 4 and you put 3. And you scratch out the 3. You need your brain, right? Your subconscious needs to see those successes, and you need to see those for your mindset. Okay. So don't just say, like, you guys have said this to me. You need to write it down. And just like you need your vision board, you need to be able to see it every day and mark it down as you're going through. Okay. Make sense? Right?
Yeah.
The whole idea is visualization and then successes. You need to do that. And I've shared this with you before. When I first was in the business, my target was, first few years, my target was 36 deals a year. I literally took my business card and wrote little things on the back to celebrate. And I literally put 36 cards up on a board in my office. And after the first one, I got a deal. What's on the back? Oh, go out to dinner. Great. And then I'd get the next one. What's on the back? It might just say go for coffee. Okay. Then I'd get to one that says buy a new suit or whatever it is. All these different things that I wrote down for myself to really understand my mental capacity was, these are little treats for me because I worked hard for these successes. Okay. So really important to keep your mindset going, because there will be times that all of a sudden you're going to go, oh God, I haven't added anybody to my database, but you got to keep going. Persistence, keep going, keep going. So when you start doing these little tick offs, your mind actually goes, okay, keep going. That's a success. There's another success. Here's another success. And that helps get you to the finish line. Okay. Make sense? All right. Before
I do
we,
think that. I do that with deals. Like I start off the year with the dollar signs across the top of my whiteboard, however many deals I want to do. And then when I've got one and it's firm, I can wipe out one of the dollar signs.
great.
Instead.
Super. Yeah. Whatever works for you, but please understand, mindset is huge in this business. Huge in life, but also in this business. Okay. Anyway, so we've got some good targets here. Really appreciate Austin, you coming on, and obviously we'll keep inviting people to join, but we're going to report back. And as you're going through this, okay, as you're doing this, by all means, fire me off a message, an email, a text, whatever. Just say, hey, just added one to my database, because then I can also do the chart here. Right? Because then I can, encourage you as you're going through it. And if you feel like you're getting stuck, and you're just like you're just finding you're struggling with something on what to do, how to do it, reach out to me. We can always brainstorm on some idea, because there's always ways to adding somebody to your database. Okay. Anything else before we sign off? And no? All right.
We have one more session for the year. So we'll meet again next Wednesday. It is a reoccurring link, so please keep this around, and yeah, we'll meet one last time, and then in January meet again and hear how everyone hit their numbers. Just as a reminder, in January, we're also starting back up our monthly social media power hours. So the first Tuesday of every month, we're going to be starting those, kind of reconvening with everyone. Everyone is welcome. We're going to be talking about either any changes to social media to keep everyone updated, and then sharing what's working, what's not working, answering any questions, providing people with solutions for maybe obstacles they're facing on socials. And yeah, we're going to be doing that monthly.
Great. Okay. Any final words before we sign off from anybody? No? All right. Have a great day. Happy shoveling to all of you who may be up there. And, my ski club informed me that they are opening on Saturday. I'm not going to be there, but they are opening. And it has the most runs they've had open this early in December in like 15 years. So all the best to everybody, and we'll connect next Wednesday, and if not before. Okay?
Have a good day.
Bye, everyone.
You too. Bye.
Bye.